Da skal det handle om case study Cupido mobil. Cupido er jo... Oh, sorry, I'm going to do it in English. Sorry about that. All for you, Jakob. Cupido, as probably a lot of you know, is an erotic magazine. At least it's not porn site, but it has a catchy phrase also. Or I won't do any marketing for them. It's an erotic magazine. They have a website, and it's also an online community where people send messages to each other. They publish pictures of themselves, become friends, and I'm not really sure what they are doing there, but it's a community. And an interesting case study in itself, actually, the website that is. These are some stats about, or these are some tech facts about the web version. It's a Drupal 6 site on PressFlow with lots of hacks in core because it's not performant enough. The first thing you reach when you request the site is Varnish, which distributes the requests to 4 front servers, which all run the code base, and they are all of these front servers also have a slave instance of the MySQL server, so there's a master and 4 slaves. And we use memcache for sessions and, well, cache. And all kinds of strange optimizations, and actually all kinds of strange things happen on big sites. We actually had an incident with a session collision, believe it or not. 2 users got the same session key. This actually happened. Wow. And I Googled it, and the statistical chance of it happening, it's 1 in, I don't know, several hundred trillions or something. And yeah, it happened, so.
How did you track it?
Well, we received the bug report, and at first it seemed like, that's not true. And then we looked at the logs, and it seemed like, this IP, he actually logged in at that point. And then some other user with another IP did something, authenticated as the same user, and later that first user also did something as himself, of course. And at some point they had gotten assigned this. So at first we thought I don't think it's even possible because I've never heard about it before. So I had to hack some stuff to see what happened if you get the same session, and this actually happens. All of a sudden you become the other user. So it's really interesting. Okay, we won't talk about that. These are some quick numbers. 16,000 sessions per day, 450,000 page views per day. And what's unique about Cupido is these are authenticated users, and they stay there for a long time. 17 minutes is well above the average for a web page to be in there. And at the busiest, they are sending messages to each other at the rate of 1 message every other second, which is not a lot if you compare it to Facebook, but in an origin scale, it's quite a lot. And of course, the technical details are very interesting, as the guy at Pates talked about how you manage a lot of authenticated traffic because you can't cache a lot of things, and you have to do a lot of different things. And I'm just guessing right now, but with your laptops, if you go to Cupido, you can see it's probably like 500 users logged in right now. So, okay, so the case for the mobile version, sad thing, it's not live yet, so this is kind of an exclusive preview. And so I will brag about it a lot, probably, and then in a year we can have the session where, extremely failed Cupido mobile version, or I don't know, the opposite, maybe. Yeah, something like that. But still, we're going to talk only about the positive sides now, of course. So these are the things we had to consider when they asked for a mobile version. These 3 are the alternatives one usually considers. So this is the reason we can't have an app. Oh shit, that caption actually got there. Oh, that's nice, yeah. Yeah, so it's actually illegal. You can't show nudity in the App Store. So yeah,
You're talking about an Apple app.
yeah. So this is just not an option actually. And I just put it in so I could put that GIF in there. So yeah, I think actually you could theoretically put it in Google Play Store, or maybe they changed it. I'm not sure. Okay, so responsive design, which of course it's kind of a good option, but there is a design on Cupido, and we could make it responsive, but then we would have to kind of hack it responsive, because there's a lot of elements there that don't necessarily fit on mobile very well. You would maybe prioritize differently. And also, this would mean that, or the most natural thing to do is to redesign the whole site, which was not an option. And also, the most, well, you get most out of this if you make everything mobile friendly. And they wanted the option to kind of shop for things to make mobile friendly, so they can make one part of the page good for mobile, and then, for example, they have a shop where they sell different things. And they didn't want to prioritize that, so this made this kind of like a not so good solution. So, as you probably understand, this was the solution we went for, which is why I put in a unicorn with some rainbows. And yeah, maybe it's not always the best solution, but in our case, this was the best, because we could have a different. It's typical like its own domain name, like mobile.cupido or something, and we wouldn't have to load each page like a regular site or the site right now. We could have the content dynamically loaded with Ajax. We don't have to do the rendering on the server side. We can do it on the client side, and this also could enable us to replace only some parts of the web page, like whatever they wanted. For example, the part where they send messages to each other. This could be kind of like a mobile thing, and the rest could be still the same theoretically. And we didn't have to do some responsive hacks and display none. Although I love display none, it's my favorite display or something. Yeah. Okay, so these are the technologies we use. This guy is recognizing it. Of course, still the first thing you would reach will be varnish, and it will direct you to another backend, which on the current system is chosen by these four front servers, but dependent on the device detection, you could get set a backend for the mobile app. Which is a backend server written in Go. That's the Go language, with the framework called Gorilla, which we use parts of. And the front end of this is in AngularJS. Okay, so I got some ASCII art. This is great. I got ASCII art and animated GIFs. Already I'm thinking, if you came for nude pictures, you would already be like, yeah, I got ASCII art, I got animated GIFs. It's probably all you need. Just guessing. Yeah. Okay, so this is the request flow. This is the login part of it. So over here we have the app, or the client, that is the cell phone, which makes requests to the app backend. That's the Go app. So for logging in, you would communicate with the app backend, which would check if you have an app session, which is different from the Drupal session, which I will come back to. And if you do, then yeah, you're allowed to request different things. And if you don't, then we have to proxy your login request with your Drupal credentials to the Drupal API, which is a custom API module we wrote. And this would say back to Go that, yeah, this guy is the real deal. You can trust him. And then you would get an app session, which then would, avoid going back to Drupal for different things, which I will come back to. But yeah, this is the flow, and it's represented here by usual API requests, which is typically I want to see my list of friends, for example, or I want to see I want to edit my profile. on the through the app. So then we could request the app backend, and then we could also know that in the app backend, if the client is not authenticated in Go, then we don't want to bother Drupal with it, because it has lots of stuff to do already with all the 500 people being logged in and stuff. And we would only proxy it all the way to Drupal if we know that this person can request the things he is looking for example, his profile page or his friend list. And this represents a case where, just gonna watch the timer, okay. Case where this really shines, because on a regular Drupal site with the Solver, which we use here, you would have to go through PHP and Drupal to request the resources from the Solver server. And for Cupido, it's especially important because we have to make sure that these guys are actually authenticated, because you can't just find people interested in different kinds of fetishes just by sending anonymous requests. You have to be a member. So we know in the backend, app backend written in Go, that they are allowed to request the Solver server, so we can just request the Solver server directly. Drupal is never involved there. So we save a lot of PHP processing, which is slow, and do it this way instead, and it's really fast. Okay, and for messages, we do something similar. Because messages are done through Drupal, of course, and what we wanted to have was some kind of real-time messaging, kind of like you were chatting in an SMS application. So the app is looking for, is there something new here? There's something called long polling, of course. And if the app were to ask Drupal all the time, do you have any news for me, like now, or that's news for the last 5 seconds? I mean, this would overload everything. So, and it's really unnecessary, because all these subsequent requests would always return, no, it's nothing new. No, it's nothing new, all the time. So instead, we have, like over here, you get to the app backend, which says, no, there's nothing new, but I'm going to keep this connection open and see if something happens in the next minute or something. And then maybe over here, there's another client sending a message in Drupal. It might even be the web version. And this will set a key in Redis that this user has something new. So then this open request would see that, okay, yeah, there's something new now. Now I can go all the way to the Drupal backend. But on all other requests, and this would be most of the requests, you can just return, no, there's nothing. Okay, try again later. We'll see. And it's, the result is that it feels very real time, and it's not overloading Drupal. Okay, demos. And I'm gonna have to warn you that if you're looking for nudity, there's going to be nothing. Sorry. But the good news is there's going to be animated GIFs. So I don't think you'll be disappointed if you came here for nudity. There will be animated GIFs. So first thing, it's a very interesting thing, because when you have a client which has a cell phone, most of them have a GPS, and this makes us able to actually query Solver for who of all the profiles are close to me. And Solver is really great at it, because it can store geographical data with longitude and latitude, and you can query it, sort it by distance and based on disposition. And this is native for Solver, so it's really fast, and we don't have to do any hacks to just get it to return something. Okay, so this is a typical thing. You just click close to you, and kind of hard to see, but there's a person here 0 kilometers away from me. That's myself, of course. There's a couple 1 kilometers away. Probably means that I live about 1 kilometer from my office. These are all test users. By the way, I just want to point out, this is an animated GIF with animated GIFs. So if that's not porn, I'm not sure what is.
Gifception.
Yeah. So and also, yeah. Okay. Okay. So the interesting thing here is, of course, this is, and you can see how fast it is also because it's just native Solr. We're not bothering Drupal with it. But the interesting thing here is that the kilometer measurement is enforced by us because this would be kind of creepy. Yeah, that guy is 2 meters away from me. And I just realized earlier today.
I saw a female according to Icon.
Yeah, and it's 100 years old also. Okay, so these are test profiles. And I just realized it after I made the little hack, so I can demonstrate the meter stuff. That I actually enforced the meter also. I could theoretically have decimals here. So I'm just saying, we could, yeah, I could be standing here demoing the app, and one of you guys could be like, yeah, okay. By the way, fun fact, this is actually the picture I use for developing on Cupido. I replace all images with that one, just, you know, for sanity or something. Okay, so this is probably the next version. I just included it for fun. Yeah. Scanning. Okay, you get the picture. We can almost do that right now, but yeah, it feels kind of creepy, so that's why we don't.
How about it?
Huh?
What's that?
That was just a scanner. It's supposed to be a reference to the alien scanner in the Alien movie. Yeah. Not that I'm saying these members are aliens. Okay, so Solr generally, I'm going to show a very typical search through the interface. And just before I show it, and you are worried that you will pop up with your profile name, I'm sure some of you have profiles there. I just scrambled the profile name, so no, don't worry. So, and that's also why they look so weird. Yeah, these are real data. Okay. So you can see we have different kinds of sorting. We can sort on name. Or we could sort by the newest profile, and also the green spot there is users online. We have autocomplete for specific profiles, and we have filters. If you wanted to, you know, filter on a gender, transsexual, for example, and also combine it with orientation, lesbian, why not? This one has a status is complicated, by the way. I believe it.
I believe it.
Also, this is some other facets. You can filter on county. Buskerud and Finnmark, for example. See what kinds of people are there. We can combine it with different things because it's way too many already. Fetishes, cross-dressing and nipples. And cross-dressing and nipples. Yeah, and also, we'll
Where's vacuum cleaner?
Okay, so these are cross-dressing and nipple interested in Buskerud and between 53 and 80 in Buskerud and Finnmark. I'm just reminding you that this would be an actual picture of a person interested in nipples and cross-dressing, 54 years old from Buskerud. Just saying.
Just saying. Wasn't that 100?
So you probably are thankful that I censored it with an animated GIF. I'm not sure. Or maybe not. It might be.
Isn't that a test user anyway?
What?
Isn't that a test user?
No. All of these were real. No.
Wait,
All of these were.
One was 100?
No, that was a test user. Yeah. Or I'm not sure. Okay. So these are the messages. So this is a demo of the messages where you can send message to each other and it appears instantly. Actually, before appears there, before there. So yeah, that's how it goes. It's like
it appears 1 second ago.
Yeah.
Like like when you comment on GitHub sometimes.
Yeah, almost. Yeah.
But no, it says in the future. It's like in 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh, you've seen that?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, you get a future timestamp on GitHub sometimes, or somewhere.
Okay, I'm just gonna go through a couple of quick questions that you probably.
That's the obvious question.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask that.
Why don't we just use Drupal as a backend? Yeah.
Or why do you use Go? And
Well,
PHP?
Go is just
Cool.
to be a hipster, of course. And if I haven't,
Validator.
yeah. And these are some valid and real points that there's a lot of overhead by bootstrapping Drupal for search. As you can see, I mean, we know before we query the Solr server that this person is actually allowed to do it. And if we would do that through Drupal, we'd have to bootstrap Drupal and check on global user. And this is not something I've shown or talked about, but also, obviously, pictures are a private file system in Cupido. You have to be authenticated to see a person's gallery, for example. And this requires bootstrap of Drupal to check if this user has access to this gallery or this image. And we have worked around that also that was kind of challenging, but we avoided it at least, and it saves a lot of processing in PHP. And also, as you can see, the real-time messages is compared to what it usually is on the web page. Is if someone sends you a message, you would actually have to refresh the page to see, is there something new for me now? And you can just sit there and wait for the. That's probably what they do anyway. I'm not sure. And challenges with this, well, there were lots of challenges. Some of the functionality that we wanted to present in the app didn't really have API functions. They would, for example, because we want JSON out of this, and they would have like everything we wanted was in a menu callback with no theme function in it. So it was just, yeah, if you call this function, we're going to get all of the Drupal theming back. And similar problems because, of course, this is Drupal 6, so it wasn't really something you did back then. So, so we have a API wrapper module for dealing with these things and making them consistent. And the user session and access control, and especially the access control for the pictures, were a challenge. I won't go into that, but yeah, it was. And another positive effect that you don't actually think about while you're working on it is by moving the logic to the client side, or not the logic, but more what the client side is expecting from the backend. Like putting a layer with Go between it. It means we could maybe easier swap out Drupal 6 for 7 or 8 because we know what kind of response we expect on each request. We know that the JSON response for the friend list is supposed to look like this, and of course there's some overhead by customizing it, but still we have some consistency, and we have kind of contracted what we are expecting from the backend, which makes it, there's consistency. So, questions?
I can ask another why question. You said you used Go because it was, well, cool.
Yeah.
Angular JS, because you know it, or because it's better, or because?
Well, I would say it's more or less a matter of taste. Some people prefer other ones like Backbone or Knockout or Ember or whatever. We do Angular. I mean, these things are a lot of them these days, and I think for like a company like us to be effective, you have to commit to something, and this is probably what we are doing. And also, for me personally, I like it because it's written with testability in mind. So we have to have a lot of tests for this app, for example, and this is a good thing. And some people dislike that also. So yeah, it's a matter of taste, actually. Also, it's kind of cool. Yeah, that too.
Would you say that we chose this because it was more cost efficient than go all in for responsive?
No, probably not. No, I would say the end result is better, I think, or that's just hypothetical. We don't know how that would end up. But one part of it was that they wanted to be able to shop for different kinds they could do mobile friendly, and then that they can expand this later. And so that's practically why we chose it. Also, we saw you see now that, for example, the messages are turning out to be a completely different experience on the mobile. So since we're using Angular for that, we can just reuse the components on the web page. So we can make this desktop version also be like an Angular app for this particular part of it. So we can see the trading go the other way also. So that's interesting.
Is it launched?
No, it's not launched. It's very close, but hopefully soon. Who knows? And yeah, as I said, we don't have any numbers on if this is going to be a good thing or bad thing, but yeah, I'm talking about it in a positive manner right now, at least. So we'll see in a year, maybe. Yeah. Any other questions?
Okay, thank you very much.
These are the slides.